Alex here. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you common terms and abbreviations we use in the real estate industry. Although these are the terms we use frequently in our industry, these terms may not be familiar to those who are outside the industry. Okay, so here goes. Let me dive into the video. First term, down payment. A down payment is a large initial payment that you make when you buy a home. It's usually a percentage of the purchase price, ranging from around 20 to 30%. However, there is no limit or fixed amount to the down payment a buyer makes. It will really depend on the agreement between the buyer and the seller. So in some instances, a down payment of as much as 50% of the total contract price is given. So they will need to loan a lesser amount. So it really depends on the agreement. Next is equity. So this is sometimes used interchangeably with down payment, but it has a different meaning. It is the remaining amount of the total price of the property not covered by the loanable amount. So for example, if you're buying a property with a total contract price of 10 million, and then you can avail of a loan of 7 million from the bank, so that means your equity is 10 million minus 7 million, it's 3 million. So you will then need to make a down payment of 3 million to the seller upon closing. Ready for occupancy, or RFO. It means ready-made condominiums or house and lot units that are just waiting for occupancy. So it's already finished. All you need to do is move in after the deal has been finalized. Pre-selling units. So pre-selling units are sold on the market before they are even released to the general public. So the actual property does not yet exist or is still under construction. So you are presented with either a showroom or a model unit or brochures with layout plans. It's also known as off-the-plan properties. So when a new project is launched, it often takes years before it's completed and can be turned over to the buyer. So this is why condominiums and houses usually undergo the pre-selling stage to move inventory while it's being constructed. Brokerage. Brokerage is the intermediary between you and the market, buying and selling investments on your instructions. In real estate transactions, brokers act as the link between the buyer and the seller, which can either be a developer or private individual, to facilitate the meeting of the minds between the two parties. Authority to sell, or ATS, it is a written approval by the owner or seller for his or her property to be marketed and sold. It is a requirement by PRC to brokers that before they can market a property or private listing, they need to get an ATS from the owner. It contains the property details, selling price, and scope of work of the broker. I have a full vlog explaining what is in an ATS and why it's important, so I'll put the card up here so you can check that out. Turnover. This is the last step after closing. Once the transaction between the buyer and the seller has been conducted, the seller now turns over or gives the property to the buyer. For developer listings, someone from the engineering department will usually accompany the buyer to do a punch list. A punch list is when you go to the property and check the house for anything that you want to be repaired. So just check the house before the buyer officially accepts the property. For private listings, the buyer also inspects the property to make sure everything is in order before officially accepting the keys from the seller. Bank takeout or loan takeout. This is the bank process of releasing the loan or payment for the property to the seller. So this is a requirement for developers before they will turn over the unit. So first, the equity has to be fully paid, and next, the loan has to be released or taken out. Deed of absolute sale, or we usually call it DOAS for short. A deed of absolute sale of land is a document stating that one party is transferring his rights to this property to another party. So this means that all the seller's rights to the property have now been passed on to the buyer. The buyer has now the full right to use the property that they purchased. Contract to sell. So a CTS refers to an agreement between a seller and a buyer. The contract shows that the seller promises to sell something to the buyer, and the buyer also promises the seller to buy the property. So it is a promise of sale. However, the contract does not instantly transfer the right to the buyer even when this contract is signed. Only the deed of sale will be the one to transfer the right to the use of this property. Reservation. So a reservation agreement is frequently used in the sale of new homes when a buyer reserves the right to buy the property for a period of time, usually 30 days. That is the standard reservation period, and pays a fee. The builder or developer states that it will not sell the property to another individual during the reservation period. Real estate developers. So real estate developers buy property or partner with landowners, then develop a plan for what to build or rebuild on that property. They bring in investors and predict how much money the new homes or businesses will bring in. Developers then manage the construction and ultimately sell the project. So examples of real estate developers in the Philippines are Ayala, Sibulan Masters, Pablo de Oro, and Camellia. Builder. A builder oversees, coordinates, and works on the construction, repair, and renovation of homes and other buildings. So we have several clients who do build and sell. We call them builders. So what they do is they buy a piece of land, build on it, and then sell it. So in Cagayan, we have a builder who has been doing this for more than 20 years. His designs are such a hit that they often get sold even before it's completed. So this is a very lucrative business as long as you understand the market and you know how to execute. Bank financing, also known as home loan or housing loan. This refers to the amount of money you borrow from the bank or financial institution to buy a property. Deferred cash. Deferred cash payment means the total price of a real estate property that will be divided equally in a given period of time. For example, 12 months, 24, or even 36 months. So it depends on the developer. The advantage of deferred cash mode of payment is that it has no interest. But since the term is shorter, like around 2 to 3 years, the monthly payments are also bigger. Floor area. So this is a measure of the amount of usable space in a house or building. Sometimes developers include the car park or balcony in computing the floor area of their model units, but they shouldn't be included because floor area should only include walled up and livable space. Lot area. So the total lot area of a property includes the yard up to the boundaries or the property line. Lot plan. So property lines with dimensions give the viewer an understanding of the scope of the plot, including its shape and size. HOA or Homeowners Association are designed to manage common or shared property, protect owners' property values, provide services to residents, and develop a sense of community through social activities and amenities. So if you live inside a subdivision, usually you will need to pay HOA dues, payable monthly or annually. So these dues are used by the Homeowners Association to maintain common spaces like the parks and playgrounds and other amenities of the subdivision like the roads, the salary of the guards, garbage collectors. Mortgage. A mortgage is an agreement between you and a lender that gives the lender the right to take your property if you fail to repay the money you have borrowed plus interest. Mortgage loans are used to buy a home or to borrow money against the value of a home you already own. Liens and encumbrance. So a lien is a legal right or interest of a creditor in the property of another, usually lasting until a debt or duty is satisfied, while an encumbrance is a claim or liability attached to the property. So it includes any property, right, that is not an ownership or interest. So a lien is a type of encumbrance. And then lastly, clean title. So a clean title means that it doesn't have any annotations or encumbrances at the back of the title. So you can check this by requesting for a certified true copy of the title from the Register of Deeds. And then we have balcony versus patio. So let me just throw this in. A balcony is an outdoor platform that extends from the exterior of a wall or apartment, usually on the second floor, and is always attached to the building, whereas a patio is typically on the ground level and may not be attached. And then model unit, a representative apartment unit that is used as a sales tool or for demo purposes to show interested tenants how the actual unit will look like. So usually developers build two types of model units, a dressed up unit and a turnover unit. So the turnover unit is what you will be getting upon turnover, while a dressed up unit will just show you what the possibilities are. And that's it for today's vlog. I hope you learned new terms about the real estate industry. If you have any questions or comments, just put them in the comment section below. And as always, I will see you in the next video.